Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town's post-match show after a disappointing 1-0 defeat at home to Barnsley. This is in association with Sportsbroker. To help us analyse the defeat, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the Clark brothers, Tom and Nathan. How are you both? You okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Excellent. First time we've had you both together since 2012, a long time ago now, eh?
Yeah, seems it. Yeah. Many a games played on that pitch together, which was fantastic for us both.
Yeah, like we said before, we struggled to. Obviously, Nathan's playing at Halifax. I'm at Salford, so it's been difficult to catch up with each other, especially with COVID as well. So it's nice to see him looking so well.
Yeah, good to see you both on here together. It's quite a difficult game to analyse, really. I mean, Nathan, it was a really, really scrappy one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, straight from the outset, really. I was looking forward to it, obviously, the Yorkshire Derby and everything that comes with that. But yeah, it was, like you said there, it was really scrappy. A lot of second balls, and I think certainly Barnsley's defence came out on top, really. They stood strong and sort of dealt with everything that Town had to throw at them, really.
Yeah, it was mainly down to Barnsley's style, wasn't it, Tom? I mean, they were battling for everything, ratting for every ball, and even when a Town man had it in the middle of midfield, there ended up being around 3 or 4 players around each man at a time.
Yeah, that's what I thought going into the game, watching them. Obviously, played them previous. They're probably one of the best pressing teams in the league. A very young age. I think young team. I think they averaged 23, so very enthusiastic. Like you said, get around the ball quick. And I think Town played a little bit into their hands, really. I don't think they tested it long enough, going to the front quick enough, and Barnsley were, like you say, on the front foot and nicked it quite a lot and got in threatening areas.
Is it a case, Tom, like you say there, of having to break the press, play into the channels a lot faster and get the ball behind Barnsley's midfield?
I think definitely first half, the striker, he's tall, he's athletic. There's nothing wrong with going up early on, get runners in behind. Felt like the wing backs could have been higher, which is important in that formation. You need the wing backs, bombing forward. And it just really felt that they had no attacking threat, really, for most of the game. I think they had no shots on target first half. So yeah, they found it very difficult to play, and obviously Huddersfield like to play quite a lot. And like I said, I think that played into Barnsley's hands.
Do you think, Nathan, in that case, it was a case of us having to get hold of the ball a little bit more, try and slow the pace of the game down, or do you think it is like Tom said about turning the ball over quickly and trying to play in behind and really trying to push Barnsley back?
Yeah, I think obviously at the start you've got to try and implement your style, haven't you? And Town want to pass the ball and play the ball out from the back, and you've got to try and stamp that into the game early on. And obviously Barnsley just locked onto that really quickly, and like Tom said there, the really enthusiastic, fit group, and there were constant pressure. They were pressing the ball fantastically well. And just made it hard really for our front guys really to get into the game, and saw very little of Dwayne Holmes, who I was looking forward to watching tonight. And yeah, it just obviously disappointed, isn't it? Yorkshire Derby, you want to come away with certainly some points.
Yeah, you spot on there, spot on. And obviously they threatened a lot from set pieces, especially first half, and then the start of the second half they came out all guns firing as well. Tom, really put Town on the back foot.
Yeah, I think they both tried to sort of deploy that tactic with the long throws with Dwayne, and they both sort of fancied each other with regards to that. A lot of threat from Barnsley at set pieces, a lot of goal line clearances. But yeah, like I said, they come out second half on the front foot, and sort of at the end of the first half, they had a great chance with Mowat that Norman puts away. And like I said, they came out again second half and carried on from where they left off, really. Yeah,
and then obviously scored the only goal of the game, Nathan. I mean, at at that point in that stage of play, the game was really open, wasn't it? Town were countering 3 versus 3, and the ball was switched, ended up with the goal.
Yeah, exactly. I think in that transition, it happened really quickly, like you say. I think just previously, though, I think we've had a couple of chances to clear the ball a lot sooner. We seem to sort of get caught on the ball, and obviously a couple of ricochets here and there, and it just seemed to land to their feet constantly. And, you know, for the goal, it certainly happened that way as well. And I think Keogh looked like he'd done enough in stopping the cross, and unfortunately sort of span to the back post. And, you know, it was really good finish in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think on commentary, they said they had, you know, he did have too much time. He should have had a man right up against him. And, you know, like I say, it's a good finish, but he probably should have had somebody a lot closer than they were.
I was going to say, Nathan, what could Town have done better defensively in that moment?
I think obviously you've got to try and stop the initial cross, haven't you? I think Richard and Jonathan Hogg were there trying to block that off, but, you know, you've still got to pick up in the box and, you know, really grab hold of a guy if you can and make sure he doesn't have a free chance like he did. You know, and sometimes you've got to, when they're throwing the feet up in the air, you've got to throw your head in and get the blocks in. And, you know, certainly that's what the fans want from you. You want your players, certainly your defenders, diving in and putting the bodies on the line, and just seem to be lacking in that point.
Do you think Janino, Bakuna, Naby Sarr could have done a little bit more in that situation, Tom? They were kind of around Daryl DK when he was putting together his acrobatic effort, but not quite where they should have been, perhaps.
Yeah, it looked like it was slow motion, really. Listen, it was a great finish, but like Nathan said, you're playing a derby game. You want bodies on the line. You want to keep a clean sheet, and it just felt like they were a couple of yards off it, standing still and not reacting to the cross that might have deviated a little bit. But like I said, like Nathan said, you know, you want to throw your head on it and try and get as tight as you can to it. Yeah, great finish, but they'll look back and they'll be disappointed in the positions that they took up.
In a game like this, that's so scrappy, neither team can really control the play. How much harder is it then, Tom, when you go 1-0 down against, like I say, like a side like Barnsley, to get yourself back into the game?
I think it's difficult, especially for a team like Huddersfield that are so, you know, they want to play, they want to keep the ball, they want to play through the thirds, and then all of a sudden you transition into hitting it long and try and get it in the box, and probably not used to doing that. Like I said, they've got a way of playing, and they carried on really, you know, getting it from the keeper and trying to play through the thirds, and to try and transition from doing that's going to be difficult for a team that are not used to it.
Yeah, what do you think we could have done a little bit differently going forwards, Nathan, especially after that first goal?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on here before, haven't I, and said that sometimes that ball from back to front isn't a bad ball. Sometimes I think, you know, you get it up, and I know on commentary they were saying late on, really, you know, get the ball up and get it into the Barnsley's half, as, you know, anything can happen really. You can come out with a corner, free kick, you know, just something to get a little bit of momentum going your way. I think when it is a slow build up, I think it's hard. I mean, it's probably with no fans in there, I think they'd be screaming for the ball to be forward, wouldn't they? But you know, when there is no fans in there, it just seemed a little bit slow and laboured. And I think, like Tom said there, I think, you know, sometimes it's not a bad ball going back to front and, you know, dropping on the bits and dropping on the seconds and seeing, you know, playing from there really.
Yeah, it was a really disappointing result, but for me there were kind of two glimmers of positives. Nathan, Josh Koroma starting being one. It's just great, first of all, to see him back out on the pitch for the first time in 2021.
Yeah, well, he looked lively. I had him wrote down, him and Dwayne Holmes. I was looking forward to watching. You know, Josh started really lively as well, didn't he? Had a couple of chances, and one where the defender just came in. He looked like he was through. The defender got back in time. But yeah, it's great for Town to have them sort of players coming back and, you know, boosting the squad.
Yeah, and Carol Eiting as well, Tom. I mean, he only was on the pitch for 15 minutes, but he showed moments of class, didn't he, in terms of balls that he played forwards, his movement, jinxing past Barnsley players too.
Yeah, he looked very much composure on the ball, looked to play a cute pass, looked like I think that's what the game were missing, someone to just get the foot on the ball and be calm and try and open play up a little bit. I think it were too frantic at times or too slow, and the pass had gone. So yeah, he was probably the shining light really when he come on to sort of pick a pass and play that little calm role that he played.
Yeah, to have those two back is a great boost, isn't it, Nathan, going into the final 3 games, and equally Town fans watching will really kind of remember what those guys were like in December, because I think in the stands we were watching and we were saying, wow, we forgot how good Carroll was, for example.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you've got players coming back and you remember what they bring to the team, and they've certainly been a miss, haven't they? Like many others that have been on the sidelines, unfortunately for Town this season, it's been a real struggle to get players on the pitch, hasn't it? And when you see players of that quality coming back, it's a lift for everybody, lift for the fans, and going into these last few games, it's a real positive, isn't it? Because like they're saying on the commentary there, it's still quite tight. They still need the points, and with players like that coming back, it's a real positive and a boost for the club.
Yeah, 3 games left now, Tom. 8 points clear of the relegation zone, but Rotherham obviously do have two games in hand. It is really tight, like Nathan says.
Yeah, it's such a difficult league. Listen, Rotherham sort of played a few games in space of a few days and they didn't pick up the points. Again, I think they've got 2 games in hand. Still a lot of points to play for. Like I say, Town just need to keep hopefully picking some points up and get out of that bottom area. So hopefully they can do that. But like I say, it's a tough league. Yeah,
3 cup finals left now, Nathan, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's how you've got to approach it. And like I said there, it was a derby game today, but you've got to treat them as derby games and really, really go for it. It's a massive thing for the club to stay in this league, and you want your players fighting for that, and I'm sure the fans will appreciate that, definitely.
Yeah, you're spot on. And just before we finish, guys, Nathan, how are you getting on at Halifax?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well. Yeah, we're sort of in and around the playoffs at the moment, which is fantastic for us. I had a game yesterday against Chesterfield, coming away with a 2-1 win, which was, again, fantastic away from home for us. So yeah, everything's going well. I'm still going, still feel fit and healthy. So that's the main thing, definitely.
Yeah, especially after the eye injury that you had earlier on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Tom, for yourself?
Yeah, going really well. Like Nathan, we're in and around the playoffs. I think we're 3 points away. There's a few teams in and around us that are fighting for that as well. So, like Town, we've got 4 cup finals ourselves to go into, and hopefully we can get in there. Because, like I say, been in many playoffs, and once you're in there, it's a lottery. Anything can happen. So yeah, fingers crossed we can do it. We're playing well. Had a decent result against Walsall, 2-0, and hopefully we can kick on now. Yeah,
really tense end for all of us, guys. I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you for joining us, and Town fans, thank you for watching.